Hello to all astrology lovers. Today we are discussing the upcoming new moon in the sign of the zodiac Scorpio. It will take place on November 1st at 1446. Our time in 9 to 10 degrees of the sign. In general, before we examine the characteristics of this full moon, let's discuss what this astrological event is and how it manifests in our lives. Firstly, the new moon is an astrological event when the moon and the sun align in the same zodiac sign, positioned at the same point in the sky from the perspective of an observer on Earth. At this moment, the moon is located between the Earth and the sun. Its illuminated side is not visible and it appears to be disappearing. The new moon always opens. The new cycle lasts 29.5 days, and in general, the new moon activates energies in our lives that are related to starting everything new. This means it is a time for launches, planning, and manifesting our desires and intentions. The energies of the new moon are considered the beginning and symbol of new beginnings, new desires and plans. It is like a blank slate. This is a time when we can make any wishes and build plans. Moreover, the new moon strongly focuses us on our intuition. It creates a deep inner focus because it is during the new moon that the sun and moon align, which is an aspect that always brings us events. But in addition, I call it a kind of bridge when our consciousness connects with our subconscious. We are receiving a completely new volume of information that will manifest for us in the next period, which will mark a specific new moon. Naturally, the characteristics of the new moon's manifestation and its energies depend on the specific sign in which it occurs, as well as in which house of the horoscope this astrological event is realized. Here we can already look at our individual natal charts and understand which area of life the new moon will specifically activate in the next 5 to 6 months. In addition, I believe that the new moon is essentially a monthly reboot of our lives when we can start something anew, restart something, or basically launch or begin from scratch. It should be taken into account that the moon is a manifestation of our psyche, our subconscious. Therefore, it is very important here, during this period, to pay attention to your inner voice. And now let's look at the specific characteristics of this new moon. It occurs in our zodiac sign, Scorpio. What does this mean for each of us in general? The new moon in Scorpio is a period that will be filled with very deep transformations, deep emotional ones. Our rebirth is symbolically linked to the 8th house, which is the house of Scorpio, the house of personal changes and transformation. In astrology, it is primarily associated with spirituality, themes of death and rebirth and personal transformations. The 8th house also relates to resources, intimate relationships, closeness, and esotericism. For those for whom it is relevant, the 8th house here also opens up certain opportunities. That is, it is the house of trust, the house where we encounter very deep psychological and emotional processes that always lead us to personal rebirth. It is important to note that this new moon in Scorpio opens a period for us until May 12th, 2025. The growing moon is active until November 15th, 2024, and we have 2 weeks to manifest our intentions, plan something new, launch something, set new goals and tasks, and we are already looking specifically at which area of the horoscope this event will occur for each of you. And now let's take a closer look at what energies this new moon in Scorpio activates, what themes it raises, and what life situations it can create. First, I would like to remind you that this theme of transformation and rebirth is a process of destroying the old to make way for the creation of the new. This new moon can refresh our perspectives and let go of what no longer serves us. It is about courage, the depth of emotions, sensuality, and intuition. These are all the energies of Scorpio that we will bring to the surface during the action of this new moon. And the main themes that will be activated, of course, are personal emotional boundaries, especially in relationships. This is a topic about working with the shadow side of our personality here, about internal fears, hidden motives, and some concealed emotions. It is during this new moon that we have the opportunity to rid ourselves of toxic connections and relationships, restore the balance of important, meaningful-ish relationships, or renew them. In addition, the themes of control and ownership of resources, finances, joint resources, debt obligations, financial stability, and security will come to the forefront, and many of us will be prompted by this new moon to reevaluate these areas of our lives. Speaking of possible life situations here, situations arise related to relationships and the expression of emotions in these relationships. These are themes of some hidden grievances, themes of unresolved issues with close people in relationships. This is a very suitable period for sincere conversations, either about the topic of separation or about the renewal of relationships. This is a great time to reassess your financial approach to life. It is also an excellent time to focus on personal projects and your career. The 8th house is also responsible for entrepreneurship and investments. Therefore, it is a good period, especially for launching these themes live. And the new moon in Scorpio occurs at 9 to 10 degrees. Of course, there is also a certain symbolism here, the symbolism of deep personal transformation here. What will be important for us is the revelation of the hidden aspects of our soul and our desire to understand the mysteries of life. Speaking of the symbolism of degrees, according to the Sabian symbols, the 9th degree in Scorpio demonstrates to us a picture of how a dentist works, the painting emphasizes the importance of eliminating what can disrupt our inner or outer harmony, meaning it represents the degree of liberation from discomfort, painful situations, and habits that hinder our spiritual or emotional growth. It symbolizes purification and the opportunity to strengthen one's personal core. Speaking of the 10th degree of Scorpio, this degree shows us a symbol depicting deep sea divers who collect pearls. That is, the emphasis here is on diving into one's subconscious to search for the pearl of wisdom that is hidden beneath the surface. This symbol inspires us to explore. The depths of our psyche reveal a readiness to take risks for valuable outcomes and to achieve awareness through inner exploration. In summary, the energy of the new moon in these degrees of Scorpio emphasizes the acquisition of entirely new levels of understanding through emotional and spiritual cleansing, seeking valuable experiences deep within our subconscious. This period is strongly synchronized with the 8th house, and this cycle encourages us to free ourselves from old discomforts, pains, fears, and resentments. This is a period when we can intuitively discover some of our hidden talents and inner gifts that were previously inaccessible to us and apply them to renew ourselves and move forward in life. And if we talk about the ruler of this new moon, this time there are two, the planet Pluto and the co-ruler Mars. This creates a very curious twist for this new moon because at the moment of the exact conjunction of the moon and the sun, these two planets are in opposition. Pluto has been direct since October, but it is still in Capricorn, while Mars is located in the zodiac sign of Cancer, and also in the last degrees, just like Pluto. Be sure to pay attention to which houses of your horoscope these two planets occupy. It is important to note that if these planets do not create an opposition in your personal chart, do not attribute this aspect to yourself. So, to begin with, Pluto in Capricorn in the last degrees of the sign symbolizes the 29th, 30th degree of Capricorn, representing the culmination of a very long cycle of deep transformations in the structures and foundations of our lives. Pluto in the final degrees of Capricorn carries a very powerful energy of completion and transformation, especially regarding issues of power and control. This concerns stable systems, both in society and in the personal lives of each of us. This degree is associated with the farewell to outdated structures and views that require a very strong radical renewal. Here, there is a kind of pulling away from such old forms, creating space for a new approach to life and for transformation. Pluto in this position intensifies the new moon, focusing our attention on the necessity of implementing these deep changes, particularly regarding issues of responsibility, discipline, and social roles. And, of course, a very wise and sober approach to these changes is needed here. Speaking of the second co-ruler Mars, which it is also located at 29 to 30 degrees of the zodiac sign Cancer, where the focus is on very strong emotional drives and the culmination of our internal conflicts related to themes of safety, family, relationships, and emotional attachments. Here, Mars in Cancer completes a cycle specifically related to the protection of personal boundaries and the need to safeguard oneself and loved ones. This is, of course, accompanied by a very strong sense of vulnerability and emotional tension. These degrees enhance the determination to protect one's values and emotional boundaries, but at the same time, they require letting go of outdated forms of dependency or excessive caution in our lives. Mars in this position emphasizes the importance of finding a balance between actively defending one's boundaries and values and addressing the needs of those around us, especially in the context of family and close relationships. Considering that this is an opposition, it is the opposition of the two rulers of this new moon, and of course the aspect creates a very powerful such energies of tension between the desire for control and stability and our emotional needs, our defensive reactions. That is, it reflects an aspect of deep internal and external struggle where each of us has to face a conflicting situation related to duty and emotional attachment between social demands and personal needs. The energy of opposition activates hidden fears and compels us to address issues of power and control. And this can manifest in work, in relationships, in family, in marriage, and in business relationships, absolutely in any sphere. Of course, the opposition activates key themes such as the theme of control over vulnerability, the theme of very intense emotions and tension. And speaking of situations, conflicts will arise in relationships, especially related to family and work, where completely different needs and expectations clash. For example, professional ambitions and the need to maintain some emotional connection with close people. There will be situations created here as a test of endurance and maturity for transforming one's personal boundaries, and the opposition will push each of us to reconsider our personal boundaries in relationships. It is important to choose our personal needs and not to compromise ourselves for external obligations, debts, or circumstances. Now let's consider the aspects that are at play during this new moon in Scorpio. Of course, they will complement the opposition of Pluto and Mars. Another opposition is the aspect between the two academic nodes. This is the North Node in Aries, the South Node in Libra, 6 to 7 degrees. And of course, this aspect emphasizes the energetic transition from seeking harmony and dependence on the opinions of others to the theme of self-assertion and initiative. The aspect creates conditions where we are forced to seek a balance between comfort and the necessity to act independently, following our own desires and goals. The South Node in Libra symbolizes our past habits and behavioral patterns associated with yielding, a desire for compromise, and a focus on partnership. The North Node in Aries requires the development of individuality, confidence, and decisiveness. The main themes of this aspect are, of course, dependence and independence, the theme of initiative and personal power. Possible situations that will arise for each of us include, of course, various challenges in relationships, the theme of career and personal growth through active actions related to the North Node in Aries, and the theme of achieving inner balance when we need to overcome some dependency on others' opinions. The idiocy of this desire to be good for everyone and our personal need for self-expression in Aries come at a time when we strive to put ourselves first. It is also worth paying attention to two oppositions, the opposition of Venus in Sagittarius and retrograde Jupiter in Gemini, as well as Mercury in Scorpio and retrograde Uranus in Taurus. Venus and Jupiter create an energetic tension between our thirst for freedom in relationships and our philosophical views, along with the theme of revising beliefs that may be either very superficial or unreliable. Here, retrograde Jupiter is at work. Venus in Sagittarius seeks a broad perspective, openness, and inspiration. This can manifest in the search for different experiences and romantic opportunities. Retrograde Jupiter here emphasizes the need to return to the roots, to explore the roots of a situation or problem, to examine the details, and to rethink existing views or approaches. And of course, the aspect gives us conflict and internal conflict, especially in the themes of love and financial matters. And here, of course, there may be impulsiveness and a certain lightness due to Venus, but retrograde Jupiter, of course, brings us back to reevaluating personal values and priorities. And another aspect is Mercury and retrograde Uranus. Here there is indeed a clash between extremely intense, deep thinking related to Mercury and the desire for a breakthrough and unconventional thinking. And since Mercury is in Scorpio, it tends to be very detail-oriented in its analysis. Almost like in Virgo, but even deeper, based on an intuitive perception. And here, a very strong desire to uncover some hidden true motives manifests, especially in situations that are very superficial. Retrograde Uranus in Taurus is certainly pulling us towards super radical changes through some unexpected insights, and these themes may relate to our material stability and established habits. This is because Uranus in Taurus creates opposition, leading to sudden insights or situations where information surfaces very unexpectedly, prompting us to reconsider old beliefs or previously made decisions. This all manifests in communications and conflicts related to Mercury. And of course, it is important to be very flexible and ready to accept these changes here and now in order to make completely new decisions However, at the time of the new moon in Scorpio, harmonious aspects are also at play. The most important of these are the trines. A trine not going the right way, with Mercury and Mars organizing for us in the sky. Oh, a big trine, such a large triangle that provides a very powerful combination of energies activating our intuition and creating deep emotional interactions among those around us. And let me remind you that retrograde Neptune in Pisces directs our attention to the theme of the inner world, intuition, creative self-expression, and our feelings and ideals. Mercury is in Scorpio. It enhances our analytical abilities and allows us to penetrate the essence of things, finding hidden meanings in any communication. As for Mars in Cancer, it emphasizes the theme of protecting our values, emotions, and boundaries. This combination of energies contributes to the formation of a situation where intuition and empathy become very important tools in all types of relationships. And here, one can also find creative solutions to problems that are related, among other things, to our emotions. Here, by the way, inspiration in art can manifest very strongly. In various forms of creativity, conflicts can be resolved by using these energies very gently. Additionally, we continue to work with the three without their style. We talked about them earlier in other videos. They provide us with very powerful, supportive energies to help us undergo these transformations more easily. It is also important to note that the Sun at the time of the new moon represents our consciousness and is in a trine with the karmic planet retrograde Saturn in Pisces. This trine gives us a very harmonious connection between our personal transformations and the discipline of Saturn. The Sun in Scorpio will guide us towards self-discovery, our emotional experiences, and the desire for transformation. Retrograde Saturn will bring focus to rethinking your duties, responsibilities, boundaries, and analyzing past experiences to find completely new, mature approaches to your goals and life situations. Therefore, the trine is very favorable. The supportive energy gives us an activation of personal power, but with a structural support from Saturn, and the moon is also in this aspect in relation to Saturn. However, the influence occurs at the level of the subconscious, at the level of our psyche, so the energies of this aspect can be very well utilized to our advantage. Now let's consider the new moon in Scorpio separately for each of the 12 zodiac signs. Dear Capricorns, the new moon in Scorpio affects your 11th house of the horoscope and opens up for you a period of powerful transformations and energies over the next 5 to 6 months. The theme of rethinking is related to your social contacts, your friendships, and your participation in group activities, in team activities, perhaps involving some large collective projects. This text touches on the theme of ideals and future plans related to the 11th house of the horoscope. There will be a rethinking, there will be a reevaluation, and there will be such powerful transformations. You will look at many things in these areas of life in a completely different way. And, of course, the new moon will create situations for you where you will need to reassess your social circle, social contacts, perhaps find new like-minded individuals, new acquaintances, and new sponsors for your ideas. New ideas and new projects will emerge here, specifically those focused on mass appeal to large communities of people where you can bring some benefit to a large number of individuals. Will find online manifestations and various social platforms particularly relevant. There will be changes in interest regarding group interactions. It is very beneficial to work on your personal goals in the context of the 11th house. In addition to working with the energies of this new moon, you should pay attention to self-analysis, perhaps through writing practice. You should create a new circle of communication and make sure to meet new people, especially through the internet. This is very favorable in relation to the 11th house. It is good to participate in some mass events, particularly entertainment events. This could involve organizing concerts or festivals. Everything that expands your horizons. It is good to communicate with like-minded people here. It is also good to practice visualization in the 11th house. Be open to change because the 11th house is, by default, Aquarius, ruled by Uranus. It is all about the new, all about innovation. It is everything related to our future. Pluto and Mars oppose, affecting your 1st and 7th houses. Of course, everything happening in the 11th house will primarily affect your identity and your relationships with others in the 7th house, and the opposition can create conflicts in relationships. The opposition can create situations of control and pressure related to Pluto. Difficulties will arise here in terms of personal identification and identity, that is, to determine who I am, why I am doing something, and where I am heading. There will be difficulties in expressing emotions, and there will be an intensification of jealousy because Scorpio is indeed a very powerful emotional sign. Here, a situation will arise related to the testing of the strength of your relationships with heightened emotions. Here, the theme of personal boundaries comes to the forefront in the 1st house. In any case, I wish for you to use these energies to your advantage. Subscribe, like, and share this video. See you. Bye-bye.